Good afternoon and welcome to Today on Bay TV. We are live in Swansea on Friday the 18th of May 2017. I'm Henry Darby-Cook, this is Gaynor Morgan, and with us today is Stephen Kinnock, the Labour candidate for Aberavon, and Christina Rees has joined us again, the Shadow Secretary for Wales. But
before we get stuck into the politics, let's have a look at what happened on this day, and we begin with some music from Sam Cooch.
Everything's so blurry, and everyone's so fake, and everybody's empty, and everything is so messed up. Preoccupied without you, and I cannot live at all. My whole world's around you, but I stumble and I crawl. 'Cause you can be my someone, you can be my seed. You know that I will save you from all of the upseed. I wonder what you're doing, imagine where you are. Oceans in between us, but that's not very far. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? Will you shove it in my face? This panic gets to me. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? Will you shove it in my face? Everyone is changing, there's no one left that's real. So make up your own ending, let me know just how you feel. 'Cause I am lost without you, but I cannot live at all. My whole world's around you, but I stumble and I crawl. 'Cause you can be my someone, you can be my seed. You know that I will save you from all of the ugly. I wonder what you're doing, imagine where you are. Oceans in between us, but that's not very far. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? Will you shove it in my face? This panic gets to me. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? Will you shove it in my face? This panic gets to me. Ra-da, ra-da-da-da, ra-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, 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 ra-da, ra-da-da-da, ra-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? Will you shove it in my face? This panic gets to me. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? Will you shove it in my face?
What a great way to start the show. We're going to be hearing more from Sam later.
And as Henry said, Stephen Kinnock, the Labour candidate for Aberavon, and Christina Rees, Shadow Secretary for Wales, are with us. So, before we really start talking about the politics of the day, shall we find out what happened on this day in history?
Yeah, today's the 19th of May, and we're going to start with some homegrown talent. Stuart Cable, the original drummer for the Stereophonics, was born today in 1970. We've got a great clip of when Stereophonics played Morva, and he's just absolutely killing up the drums. Shall we have a little look? Wow, amazing.
What must it be like to have all those crowds out before you like that? I suppose it comes naturally, does it, to politicians?
Oh, yeah. Every meeting I attend, there's a crowd like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you keep up, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
So you're a fan?
Pardon me?
Were you a fan?
Oh, yeah, enormously of Stereophonics. And when Anne Carrot, that's my daughter, was growing up, I think we knew every word of every song because she liked them as well. Yeah, great band.
And you?
Love them. Handbags and the Gland Rags, Have a Nice Day. Arguably the best ever Welsh rock band, although the Manic Street Preachers are right up there as well.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very controversial thing for Stephen to say. I know.
I did say arguably, you know,
It's
as a good
divided.
politician.
Can you think of another song with handbags in the title?
Is this
This
trivia?
Is, yeah, I can't. I mean, I can't. There is one with the Shane McGowan, singer in the Pogues, but it's a really naughty song and it's got lots of naughty words in it.
Right.
But that's the only other one I can
Right,
think
are you
of.
going to sing it for us?
No.
Moving on, we're going to stay with rock music. 1965, Pete Townsend wrote My Generation on his 20th birthday, obviously one of the Who's most famous songs. Should we have a little look at the clip?
Just because we get around. Talking about my generation. Things they do look awful. Talking about my generation. I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation. This is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try and dig what.
Iconic.
Back then, you couldn't imagine them getting old, could you?
No, Roger Daltrey really looks good today, though. I mean, he's weathered so well. He looks really good.
Incredible when you look back. And
What's your favourite Who song, then?
oh, that's pretty good, isn't it? And what's yours?
Squeezebox or Who Are You?
Oh, right.
I like Tommy, Pinball Wizard.
Yes.
Yeah, great track.
really
Yeah,
shakes
yeah,
things
but
up.
My Generation is iconic as well. It's fantastic. The smashing up of the guitars, it's one of those, I mean, it does look like fun, but it's something that your mother would definitely discourage you from doing.
I don't think I'd smash up my guitar.
No, it looks like fun
Wouldn't
though.
go that
You
far.
kind of...
How
you
did
dream
it all start? How did they begin by smashing up their guitars? Anyone
I don't know. I was having a very interesting chat with someone on the doorstep up in Seven Sisters the other night, and he said, "Oh, you know, I'm an anarchist. I love the Sex Pistols." And of course, then I remembered in 1977 they were due to come to Caerphilly, and they were banned from coming because they brought up the anarchy in the UK. And there was all that sort of trouble about it. So this fantastic chat on the doorstep
That's
about
why
all
you
that
like
sort of stuff.
campaigning so much. You get all the gossip.
Oh, you do. You have some great conversations.
Great conversations.
I haven't met an anarchist yet, so
Oh, yeah.
you know that's one I've still got to tick that one off.
Oh, he's a great
Did
guy.
you convert him?
Well, fingers crossed, Gaynor. I did my best, you know.
There's some other big birthdays today. We're going to go into the world of football now. Andrea Pirlo, one of the most famous, actually, Italian midfielders, is 38 today. We've got one of his best free kicks from the World Cup, the last World Cup, I think it is. Should we have a little look?
Balotelli's walking back as though he'll be involved. I don't think he'll get a look in. It's Pirlo over the wall and into the net, and quite brilliant. Pirlo, still peerless.
Fabulous. We give him the introduction, we've spoken about him, so much said.
What's that wonderful shot of that man hugging his little boy and cheering? It's just really,
Well, he was a great player.
Oh, he's still playing.
Still playing. That's true.
In the MLS.
But he basically ran the Italian midfield for years. And, free kick specialist, absolutely tremendous.
And I think one of the coolest men alive, just so chilled and everything's kind of, we've obviously got to mention the slates. So obviously Stephen's here today. So there are other candidates in that area. So we'll just pop that up now for Aberavon. And Neath, and...
There they are, the other candidates. And Nice, the list of the candidates. You're not alone, Chris.
No, there's a fair spread there.
So after the break, we're going to be looking at today's papers, and Stephen and Christina are both staying with us.
Look forward to it. See you then.
Welcome back to Today on Bay TV. I'm Henry Darby-Cook. This is Gaynor Morgan. With us is Stephen Kinnock, the Labour candidate for Aberavon, and Christina Rees, the Shadow Secretary for Wales.
And first, before we take a look at the papers, we'll just remember the late, great Rhodri Morgan.
I've known Chris a long time, and one thing you can always say about Chris, once she sets her mind on doing it, she will give 110% to that job. She takes it on wholeheartedly. She gives every ounce of her energy and commitment to doing the job, and she will do it to the utmost of her ability, no holds barred. That's why I think she's the right choice for this job.
What a recommendation. He obviously knew you very well, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a very sad time. You must have had a fair bit to do with him, Stephen?
Knew Rhodri well, yes, and actually had a pint with him in the Strangers Bar in Westminster just about 3 months ago. And he was on absolutely top form, full of the usual stories and banter, and we had a really good chat. So I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I had to sort of check my messages 5 times to believe that it actually happened, and it's such a loss to our movement and to our country. He was a giant of Welsh politics, and one of those amazing people who you could just sit down and have a chat with him and tell a few jokes and talk about rugby, but he would also give you the finest detail on economic theory or the history of Welsh Methodism or whatever it might be. He was an amazing person and a huge loss.
Powerful intellect. And of course, tremendous Swansea roots, and he was a non-executive director of Bay TV Swansea, so a great friend of ours. Chris, you ready to
Yeah,
talk
I'm sorry
about
that. It's just, I couldn't believe it, and, you know, I cried a lot because I lost a friend. But what he gave me was support whenever I needed it. He was always there. And his wit was absolute legend, and you know, little things that I was trying to remember about him, you know. And when Angharad was living in New Zealand, I was talking to Rhodri because we spoke quite a lot at that stage, back and forth. And he said, "Where's she living?" I said, "Oh, Tiano." Oh, I thought that was a cafe in West Wales. You know, spontaneous.
Yeah.
But he used to come and present trophies at my squash tournaments for me. He was always there, passionate about sport, any sport.
Yeah, no, he loved his sport. Yeah.
But he was sort of so human, so personable. He'd talk to you and make you think that you were the most important thing in his life. And he just had that gift.
Yeah, tremendous charisma. And
He
great
talked, didn't he, about clear red water between Wales and the Labour Party. He wasn't always flavour of the month, was he, with the hierarchy in the Labour Party? Why do you think that was?
Well, I think that at that particular time, he came to the rescue, really, for the Assembly, because we've been through torrid times, and when he got in, he was saying that he'd put red water between Wales and London because he wanted to build the National Assembly. He wanted to make it work. And I think that's a legacy that we must be grateful for, Stephen.
Yeah, he was a champion of devolution.
Clearly, it's historical now. He wasn't Tony Blair's first choice as First Minister. Anna Michael was. Why do you think there was that? It wasn't quite a rift, was it? But he wasn't the Labour Party's golden boy.
I mean, my ex-husband was the person who should have gone in, but we all know what happened there. And then Anna Michael was seen to be parachuted in by Tony Blair. And I think that was the rift that formed, because Rhodri stood then and lost. He lost to Ron, first of all, then he lost to Anna Michael.
That's Ron Davis, of course.
Yeah, and then he got in the third time, and I think that, you know, in many respects, because it happened that way, he had more authority, he had more credibility, because he was voted in at a time when we needed him most.
People were quite angry at the time. I remember just in the street, people would be saying, well, what's wrong with Rhodri? And that's what he was, wasn't it, Rhodri?
I think if you ask Tony now, I'm sure that he would say Rhodri was absolutely the right man for the job. And, you know, in politics sometimes decisions get made and people act on impulse, and actually, you know, when you look back at what Wales needed at that time, it was Rhodri Morgan, and he showed the leadership, but also the humanity and the warmth that reflects our Welsh values and our Welsh personality better than anybody else could have done at that time and arguably ever since. So I'm absolutely sure that if you ask Tony Blair, if you get Tony Blair on Bay TV one of these days,
well, you're
I'm
the
sure
man
he
with
would
the
say the same
influence.
thing. Well, I wouldn't
Possibly.
count on that.
I think what Rodri had as well, at that time, there wasn't a Labour majority in the Assembly, and he had the ability to... He was known as the honest man of politics, a man of his word. So he was able to bring a coalition together.
There is an argument.
People trusted him.
There is an argument that we haven't got these heavyweights anymore. Neil Kinnock, obviously still with us, but not in power or in politics. Is that so? Have we lost these people of stature in politics today?
It's easy to look back and to look at legends that have been, and sometimes you're not aware of legends that are being created at time, contemporary. You know...
I think that if you ask Gordon Brown and Tony now, I think one of the things they would probably recognise is that not enough time was spent building up the next generation. And I actually think when you look at the leadership election that took place, where it was Jeremy and Andy Burnham and Liz Kendall and Yvette Cooper, there was a feeling that those three other candidates hadn't really had time to build also under Ed Miliband's time. Whereas I think if you look before that, Tony and Gordon and with John Smith were clearly emerging, but there was a strategy in place to allow that to happen. So I think a big element of leadership is not just thinking about securing your own position.
Nurturing and mentoring.
It's about securing the future of the party. And if you don't do that as a leader, you're failing as a leader.
We'll be talking a lot more politics after the break. What else was in the papers?
Yeah, well, we're going to stay with. We're going to start with a digital story. Actually, yesterday, Jamie Corbyn actually sat down with a grime artist called JME. It's got a lot of people are talking about it on Twitter. There's positives and negatives. Should we have a little look at a clip and then we'll talk about it?
I've grown up like making the best out of what I've got.
Yeah.
And being optimistic with what I've got. We feel, when I say we, I'm talking for anyone that hopefully people like me that's never voted, we feel like no matter what happens, we're going to have to make the best of that situation. So sometimes we feel like, oh, we don't need to vote, like, it doesn't matter, whoever, like, no one has our best interest at heart anyway. So whatever happens, we're going to still struggle, we're still going to grind, we're still going to come through and flourish at the end, you know? Whereas now, we seem to be seeing someone that we can actually trust, someone that's human. I don't know, like, who...
Well, political change doesn't always come from politicians, does it?
Of course not.
It comes from everybody else.
Yeah, and I also know that a politician can't...
Am I allowed to ask what's a grime artist?
An urban singer.
All right. I guess you knew that, Chris.
No.
Steve?
Grime, I know what grime is. Yeah, I've got a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old. They definitely keep me educated.
Plenty of grime in your house.
Yeah.
The main topic of this sit-down is to understand why younger people don't vote. And Jamie Adenuga, says it's very much this DIY culture of it won't affect us, so whatever happens, we'll grind on and we'll make the best of it. So Jamie Corbyn decided to sit down and try and understand that. The flip side of it is obviously a lot of people on Twitter have seen this as a gimmick.
Yeah.
But
how do you address it? Because there is a perception among younger people that they can't affect anything. Why would you vote?
Well, I think we come back to the curriculum, to the school curriculum, to the college curriculum, where we need to put in some sort of politics education into that. And then children can learn as they come through. And that's the deficit at the moment. We did a tremendous event in Neath College where we saw 600 students and just explained the link between local government, the Assembly, the UK Parliament and the European Parliament. And we had various councillors there. Derek Vaughan was there, our MEP, and Gwenda Thomas, who was our Assembly member then in Neath, came along. And we had tremendous conversations and they really understood the importance of exercising their democratic vote.
I think there's a big element as well of people taking things for granted. So the system just works, and younger people don't often wonder how it works and who takes those decisions. So how do you make sure that your bins get collected every day, that the street lights work, that if you're going to university, whether or not you're paying student
We're going to have to
tuition
stop
fees.
you there. We're running out of time.
Thanks.
Let's have a little look at that candidate list again for Aberavon and Neath.
That's the candidates list, and thank you very much. We're keeping Stephen and Christina with us, going to be talking all things Welsh Labour.
Welcome back to Today on Bay TV. I'm Henry Darby-Cook. This is Gaynor Morgan. We're still with Stephen Kinnock, the Labour candidate for Aberavon, and Christina Rees, the Shadow Secretary of Wales. It's a mouthful, that is, Christina.
Just call me the Shadow.
Yeah.
Because, of course, these things are quite difficult, aren't they? You're a candidate now, not an MP,
That's
Stephen,
right.
but you're still Shadow Secretary for Wales, Christina.
Yeah, I'm a candidate as well.
Yeah, right.
Oh, OK.
So,
Do you remember who you are when you go to bed?
no.
Check in the mirror.
How's it going on the doorsteps? I would have thought it's very disheartening, isn't it?
Well, I'd say it's mixed. I mean, we're getting a really good response on our manifesto. People are really engaging with the policies and very interested in what we've got to say on rebuilding the country and rebuilding our economy. You know, we have to recognise that the issue of leadership is coming up on the doorstep. The Tories are trying to make this entire election about leadership, and that sometimes is challenging. But, you know, what we're saying to people is you need to remember what the Labour Party stands for and has stood for the last 100 years and another 100 years, I hope, to come. And when you vote Labour, think about our values, think about our policies.
Doesn't that mean you've gone badly wrong if people aren't remembering, if they aren't aware now, Christina, of what the Labour Party stands for?
No, I think there's a lot of propaganda in the press. I mean, the right-wing press has got a lot to answer for.
Mm.
And I had a shock when I saw the Tory manifesto yesterday that Theresa May announced. She's really gone for the pensioners. Triple lock has gone down to double lock, means testing for winter fuel payments. And if you look at real terms, wages have not increased since, well, 2008. They haven't increased. So an average family is already £1,400 worse off per year.
She has tackled the issue of care in later life, hasn't she, where people can now keep £100,000 worth of their equity, their capital.
Yeah, but it's just a delayed payment, isn't it? Because that means that when they do actually pass away, as you know, sorry to bring this up, but as you know, when young people try to get on the housing ladder these days, they can't. So when we die, Gaynor, we will pass our houses on to our children. Well, that's not going to happen if you've already hocked some of it towards your social care.
She has tackled the issue, Stephen, and I think it is an issue. We are getting older as a nation, aren't we? And
yeah, that's right. But I think the problem with the policy they're proposing is it means basically you lose control of what is most people's biggest asset, which is their house. So your house and the value of your house is normally something that you could use and deploy to help with your care in older age.
What's Labour's answer?
Well, the challenge that we face is how do we make sure that the Dilmot report, which made a number of recommendations about long-term care and how to pay for it, is properly implemented over a number of years? And what we're suggesting in our manifesto is that there needs to be a proper cross-party discussion about this and a green paper which would actually put measures in place so that you're not tinkering with this every 5 years when a new government, a new manifesto comes along. We need long-term, 15, 20-year planning horizons.
None of this is feeding through in the opinion polls, is it? You're lagging behind quite badly.
Well, we've actually increased this week, so the gap is narrowing. And coming back to on the doorstep, yes, sometimes I am asked about the wider issue, the wider UK Labour Party, but it's about local issues that most people that I speak to on the doorstep.
I thought it was about Brexit.
Brexit's not. It's interesting, actually. Brexit isn't coming up that much. I think a lot of people feel, look, we've had that referendum, we've had that debate. A lot of people have said to me on the doorstep, look, Mr. Kinnock, I voted Remain. But I understand now that we have to leave the European Union. We've got to get on with it. I even heard somebody referring to that group of people as relievers. So they voted Remain, but they understand we need to leave. And that's very much where I am in this. I mean, I campaigned passionately for Remain.
Yes, I'd like to be a fly on the wall in your household because your wife was the Danish Prime Minister and you met, didn't you, in Brussels working in the EU?
We met studying, actually, at the College of Europe in Bruges and then went on to Brussels together, yeah. So, but we're both very committed in terms of being pro-European, but we're also both pragmatists and we understand the realities of politics. And when you've had a huge democratic exercise like the referendum, you've got to respect the result. But that doesn't mean giving the Tories a blank cheque to run a steamroller through our country, which is what they will get if there's a landslide majority on the 8th of June.
We need a sensible Brexit. You know, we need a sensible deal at the end that would be the best for Wales and for the UK. And Keir Starmer is leading for us on that. He's the Shadow Minister for Brexit. And he's got some tremendous ideas. He's a very good intellect, isn't he?
And he's put 6 tests for Brexit around the economy, but also around protecting workers' rights standards, environmental standards, consumer standards, some of the things which we fought for so long, and they've been anchored through our membership of the European Union. I think what the Tories want to do is turn our country into a European version of the Cayman Islands. Low regulation, no tax, making a bonfire of workers' rights and standards. And if they get a landslide on the 8th of June, that is precisely what they'll do. And I think that message on the doorstep is really cutting through.
It's all down to branding, isn't it? And the Conservatives are really using Theresa May as their brand, it appears. You haven't got that brand in your leader, have you, Jeremy Corbyn? It's a very weak brand.
I think this strong and stable, though. I mean, it's over and over and over again.
It clearly works. You're quoting it for her.
Well, I thought it was the Hearsay song, you know? Strong and stable, pure and simple. Yeah, but it's over and over again. And the feedback I've had on the doorstep is, oh, no, you know, she's not saying that again. So people are getting fed up already.
What we also have to do is expose her on her record of failure. For example, when she was Home Secretary, she kept on promising that immigration would be brought down into the tens of thousands. It didn't happen. There's a whole litany of failure, actually. So I think we've also got to not accept the strong and stable thing and just go, OK, yeah, she's strong and stable, let's move on. We actually have to challenge that narrative.
It's just a slogan.
Have you got time, though? Because people appear to be very rattled. The referendum, the result of the referendum, really has rattled people, whether they're Remainers, Brexiteers. And there's a sense that people are looking for strength, stability, security, and that Theresa May can deliver that.
I think we've got to make this campaign about policies as well, and about our values and our vision for the country. And when you look at the manifesto, and the more that there is an analysis of our manifesto compared to the Tories, which quite frankly is just a pretty empty, vacuous document, just like their campaign is, I think then people think, OK, you know, these are the policies that I want to see, and they could change the country for the better. And we've then got to, you know, the good thing with an election campaign is that you get unfettered access to the public. And this is where the public will have a chance to see Jeremy up close and personal, like interviews with that grime artist, and then they can make their own minds up, and we'll see on the 8th of June. But I agree with you that leadership is a massive issue.
Jeremy Corbyn's not going to be the next Prime Minister, is he?
The other thing is that they made 50 promises, the Tories, and they've broken every one of them. And there's a whole list of things that they promised to do in their last manifesto, and they haven't done.
Is Jeremy Corbyn going to be the next Prime Minister?
Well, yeah, I hope to wake up on June the 9th to a Labour UK government.
We've got a mountain to climb, but what we've seen in recent years is don't go with forecasts. Forecasting anything in politics these days is a mug's game. Who would have thought that the host of the reality TV show would now be the President of the United States of America?
We haven't got, if we come back to Wales, we saw the leadership debate last night without the main leaders. And Leanne Wood came out of that, you know, she really spoke up for Wales, didn't she? We haven't got anything like that in the Labour Party.
Well, we've got Carwyn Jones.
Yes, but Leanne Woods was grabbing the headlines, wasn't she?
Well, I thought Carwyn Jones in the debate that was held earlier on in the week with the five leaders there, I thought he was head and shoulders above everyone.
Carwyn is a massive asset to our party, and I think the fact that in Wales we did better than in England and Scotland in the local elections recently was very much down to Welsh Labour's leadership, and the leadership that Carwyn has shown has, I think, helped to... You talk about brands, I think actually the Welsh Labour brand has become a more and more powerful brand, and people are more and more saying, OK, I'm thinking about whether or not to vote Labour. I'm not just thinking about the UK context, I'm also thinking about Wales, and Carwyn's leadership is a huge asset in that context.
I mean, he's got what Rodri had, charisma, personable. He's wonderful to talk to.
How is Wales going to be protected come Brexit? Just very, very briefly.
By having a Labour government in Westminster.
Christina?
Yeah.
I think now we've got to look at the
candidate
other
list,
candidates,
yes. One last
the candidates in your constituencies. So that's Nice, the Nice candidates up there for you to peruse. And then Aberavon, again, the list of the other candidates other than Stephen Kinnock. So thank you both. We've had a bit of a run through the election there. Now, after the break, we'll be welcoming back one of our favourite guests to the sofa, Joe Hicks from Swansea Grand. So, we look to it.
Welcome back to your final parts today on Bay TV. I'm Henry Darby-Cook. This is Gaynor Morgan.
And David Jansen has joined us. Joe Higgs has changed a bit, along with his daughter, Kira. You're both in a play together, yeah?
Yes,
Kira's
we're doing a play called Kiss of Death at the Grand. We're there sort of tonight and then 2 shows tomorrow.
It doesn't sound like a bundle of laughs.
No, it's not. This is certainly not a comedy. It's a thriller. I think it's a bit of a psychological thriller, really. But yeah, it's a thriller. Simon Williams wrote it, who people would know from television from back in the sort of 70s and 80s and everything else. And it was first done about 17 years ago, I think, around about 2000. And it's not been done very much. And there are lots of reasons why, but I'm not going to tell you why. You'd have to come along and see that. But it's a lovely piece.
And you are in the play?
I play a criminal, a very strange man. Yeah, he's a criminal psychologist, and it's about a covert operation that has been set up to find a serial killer that is going around killing young girls.
Kira is seeing your father in a new light.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you often work together?
No, we did work together, I think, when I was very young, doing a television series, but actually it's quite strange that we've never done anything else together. So this is the first
hardly
time.
working together. She was a baby.
Yes,
she was about 7 months old at the time.
But it still worked,
Yeah.
though, right?
So who are you in this play?
So I'm actually the only female in it.
All right.
And it's just so nice to be with my dad, and we've got 2 other great guys in it as well. And I play the young actress who's there kind of like to play a bit of a decoy and find out what's going on with this crazy serial killer.
What's it like working with your dad?
It's amazing. You know what? It's honestly, it's like a masterclass in acting for me. It's amazing.
Oh, that's
Do you want to
how
tell
nice is that?
Do you keep telling her what to do then?
No, I wouldn't dream of telling her. She's very, very good. And it's they're 2 very, very different roles. I mean, it's a very emotional role for Kira. And she's on stage all the time. And I think I'm probably only in it because they wanted Kira to do the part. And they just thought that it would be nice to have me trundling along playing this strange man.
Now you're a very familiar face, David. Can you tell us
It's been around a little bit, hasn't it? It's been, I've been sort of doing quite
a lot of popular TV.
Yeah, but that was sort of back in the sort of 80s, and I mean, I've been an actor all my life. I started off as a child actor, and so.
What did you start off in?
Well, it was quite funny. I was about 8, 9 when I started, and then the only thing we could do were commercials and modelling. We couldn't do theatre, couldn't do film or anything like that because you had to be 12 before you could actually do that. So I spent about 3 years doing thousands of television commercials for everything from... I remember I did one for Ribena Pastels. Do you remember, the drink Ribena? You used to be able to get little pastels.
Right, okay.
And they were great. I loved them.
Even I don't remember that.
and I ate so many of them, and everybody thought I was going to be sick. And it's the same as... And I did one for wine gums, and they keep telling you have to spit them out afterwards. And I wasn't going to waste them, so I just ate them.
He's done so many amazing things, and he's talking about Ribena.
But this is when I was a kid, and I remember doing one for Campbell's soup that they had to put... You couldn't have it hot because it steamed up everything, so I had to drink this horrible condensed cold soup. That was the opposite
OK,
to
were
eating
you
lovely
doing all this
pastels.
because you were desperate to be an actor? Did you come
No,
from
I don't know what it was. I think I just had a cheeky face, and I just used to...
Was it a theatrical background? Or?
No, it was all by accident. My sisters went to a dancing school, and I went along literally just for the train ride. And when we got there, they all went in to see this agent, and they said, "Have you got any boys with you?" And next thing I know, I was thrown into this room. And they asked myself and one of the girls to go to Saturday morning drama. And my parents were great because, they said, well, give it a go, see what happens.
Kira, I think perhaps we'll leave it to you to tell us some of the amazing things he's done. Yeah, we're not going to get into
I didn't even know about this. Like commercials and all sorts of things. So
tell us about some of the other things that he's done in his career.
You're probably best known for Keeping Up Appearances, playing the postman, which my friends are very familiar with. Yeah. And then Hello, Hello, Hair Flick.
The last series of Hello, Hello, which was really good fun. I did one episode of the series before, playing a Hitler lookalike who got blown up. And then after that, they were doing a stage show of it, and Richard Gibson, who plays Flick, couldn't do it and didn't want to. I just think he had other things to do. So they asked me if I would like to do it, which I did. And then after that, the last series of LOLO came along, and Richard decided he didn't want to do that, and they really wanted him to do it, but he just said no, because they thought, they kept on saying it's the last series. And they said, but this one will be, Richard. And he said, no, you said that last time. And they asked me if I would play Flick for the last series, which was great, because I knew everybody in the series anyway.
So was it a very glamorous household to grow up in? Did you always want to follow in the footsteps?
Well, yeah, it kind of, it just was a natural progression. My mum is an actress as well. My sister's also in the business. So, yeah, from a very young age, it's just what we've always done. And
From 7 months old?
Yeah, well, basically, yeah. So it's been amazing, yeah, and very supportive.
But you haven't worked together before?
No, we haven't. It's funny because we've both done soaps and all of those kind of things, but actually never been in that situation together, so it's really nice. It's so lovely.
Yeah, it is lovely actually, because we're both very busy. Kira's very busy doing having her life and doing her work and everything else, and I'm dashing around all over the place. So I get to spend a lot of time with her now, which actually is really nice, because it's we sort of get to bond a lot more now. Don't we? We do.
Now remind us, you're at the Grand Theatre?
We're at the Grand.
When?
The show's at 7:30 in the evenings, and there's a 2 o'clock matinee tomorrow.
Is there any tickets left?
There are quite a few tickets left.
OK. So if people call the box office, go online.
They'll all go now after seeing on
BTV. It's a very nice, unusual thriller, and people will be surprised by it,
Well, thank you for coming to see us.
It's been lovely to meet you both. Thank you.
Thank you to all our other guests today, and to all our viewers for watching us, especially those who have tuned in for our Talking Pictures afternoon matinee coming up next on BTV.
And today it's the 1951 musical comedy Happy Go Lovely, starring David Niven.
And with that, take it away, Sam.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories, where everything was as fresh as a bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, she takes me away to that special place. And if I stayed too long, I'd probably break down and cry. Whoa, whoa, sweet child of mine. Whoa, sweet love of mine. She's got eyes of the bluest skies, as if they thought of rain. I'd hate to look into those eyes and see an ounce of pain. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where, as a child, I'd hide and pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass me by. Whoa, whoa, sweet child of mine. Whoa, whoa, sweet love of mine. Whoa, sweet and it feels like